So what if a company wasn't just building another robot arm, but was actually building the brain that could power every single robot out there? That's what we're looking at today with Mugen, a company that's trying to completely change how we automate, well, pretty much everything in the physical world. But let's start with the big problem, right? Industrial robots are absolute beasts. I mean, they can lift incredible weights with unbelievable precision. So why is programming them still one of the biggest headaches in manufacturing? It turns out just telling one of these machines exactly what you want it to do is a monumental challenge. And this slide really just lays it all out. The old way? We're talking months and months of integration. You need highly specialized engineers, and you're writing all this complex separate code for every little component. The goal, the new way, is to flip that completely on its head. We're talking fast deployment, a system that pretty much anyone can use, and a single, unified brain to control the whole shebang. Now, to solve a problem this huge, you need more than just a slick business plan. You need a genuine scientific breakthrough. And that brings us to the person who really took on this mission, Dr. Rosen Dyankov. Dr. Dyankov is a world-renowned roboticist, and his story really starts in the world of academia, at two of the absolute best robotics institutions on the planet. And it was there that he laid the groundwork for a new theory, a totally different way of thinking about how robots could understand their environment and just figure out how to move on their own. And what's so cool about this is that this super complex diagram, this isn't from some marketing presentation. This is from his actual doctoral thesis. This just goes to show you the deep scientific foundation that Mugen is built on. We're not just talking about some clever software. We're talking about a fundamentally new way of understanding robot physics and geometry. So what is this core idea? It's called motion planning. The best way to think about it is as the software that gives a robot intelligence. It lets the robot use its sensors to see the world around it. Then it calculates the best way to get from point A to point B. That's the thinking part. And then it generates its own movements to act. All of this happens automatically, without a human having to code every single tiny step. Okay, so having a brilliant academic theory is one thing. But how in the world do you get that out of the quiet university lab and onto the loud, chaotic floor of a real factory? Well, that's the next part of this story, taking this amazing idea from the lab to logistics. And things started moving fast. Dr. Dyankov gets to Japan in 2010. The very next year, he has this game-changing meeting with Issei Takino, an engineer who really got what the manufacturing industry actually needed. They didn't waste any time. They co-founded Mugen right then and there. And by 2012, they'd landed their first major investment, backed by the University of Tokyo. You know, this quote just says it all. Dr. Dyankov, the scientist, he knew that his incredible technology needed a partner who could connect it to real-world business problems. It was that classic, perfect pairing of visionary science and market smarts. And that partnership led directly to their main product, the Mugen OS. Now, this isn't a robot. It's an intelligent controller. Think of it as a universal brain that's designed to work with any robot arm from any manufacturer out there. So how does this brain actually work? Well, it's this really elegant three-step loop that's always running. First, the system perceives its environment in 3D. Then, that motion planning brain we talked about plans the best possible move in an instant. And finally, it controls the robot to actually do it. And here's the magic part. The user doesn't have to write a single line of complex code. A really crucial piece of this whole puzzle is their use of digital twin technology. Just imagine a perfect, real-time, virtual copy of your entire factory floor running on a computer. And this isn't just some cartoon animation. It runs on the exact same logic as the real robots. What this means is you can design, test, and perfect your entire automation setup in a simulation before a single physical robot ever has to move. It's a total game changer. And this is where it all comes together for the user. Forget about those old-school command lines and confusing code. This whole powerful system is managed through a single, clean screen. Honestly, the best analogy I've heard is that it's like a Tesla's touchscreen, but instead of controlling a car, you're conducting an entire orchestra of industrial robots. Okay, so we've got the theory, we've got the tech, but what does it actually do? Let's zoom in on one of the most difficult, back-breaking jobs in the entire supply chain. Unloading trucks and shipping containers. Seriously, think about it. It's brutally hot in the summer, freezing in the winter, and you're just lifting heavy, awkward boxes for hours on end. It's so physically demanding that turnover rates are through the roof. For decades, it's just been this necessary evil and the single biggest bottleneck in logistics.
And then along comes the Mugen TruckBot. This thing can unload boxes at a speed that is just staggering. We're talking up to 1,000 cases every single hour. A number like that completely changes the math and the entire speed of a warehouse.
And the impact of this is huge. It's a ripple effect. It directly solves that massive supply chain bottleneck. It makes warehouses way safer for workers. It can handle heavy boxes, up to 50 pounds. And what's really smart is that it attaches to the standard conveyor systems that most warehouses already have. You put it all together, and this single innovation basically unlocks the door to a fully autonomous warehouse. Okay, this brings us to the grand vision. Because the TruckBot, as cool as it is just one application of a much, much bigger idea. An idea that goes all the way back to Dr. Dyankov's original research. Dr. Dyankov's ultimate dream is to create the iPhone for robotics, a platform so incredibly powerful, yet so simple that regular people, not just PhDs in robotics, can build and set up their own complex automation systems. He literally wants to democratize industrial robotics for everyone. And if you're wondering if anyone's buying into this vision, well, the market is screaming yes. The company just raised a massive $233 million in its latest funding round. This isn't just startup money. This is serious capital from big investors who believe this tech is ready for global adoption right now. And that leads us to the final thought to leave you with. Way back in his thesis, Dr. Dyankov came up with this concept of a robot task compiler, basically a system where you could just tell a robot what you want done, and it would automatically figure out how to do it. Mugen is making that a reality. So the question is, what happens to manufacturing, to logistics, to our entire physical world when building a brand new assembly line becomes as easy as hitting compile on a piece of code?